ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Update. We've got some news out of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and you know exactly where we're going as soon as we say that. Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Andy, this evening we're going to talk a little bit about Lightning Rod and what is going on with Lightning Rod. As you probably know and as you probably have heard over the last few weeks, on the Dollywood mobile app, it has consistently for the last several weeks now been listed as closed for the day each and every day. Multiple people that you and I know and other folks on Twitter have been posting pictures of it being closed. Our friend Adam Beard was there last week and actually reported that the test seat was not even in the ride area anymore and was just completely gone. On several days, the actual sliding garage doors that are at the entrance and exit of the station where the track enters and exits the station have been closed, which kind of implies that there's not even staff there. So this has been going on for a few weeks now, and today it was discovered that on the actual Dollywood website there is an important operational notice listed there, is how they listed it. And I will read it here for you quick. It's just one paragraph. It says, as Lightning Rod's manufacturer, Rocky Mountain Construction, is working to improve the operational consistency of the ride and elevate its performance to Dollywood's high standards, Lightning Rod's running schedule will be irregular and subject to periodic closures. We apologize for any disappointment and inconvenience. Please enjoy Dollywood's newest thrill, Dropliner, one of our other family attractions. Now, I discovered that message today. I don't know how long it's been up there. I don't know. That may have been up there for a long time. But, you know, with you and I, this ride being closed the last several weeks, you know, we were interested to see if there was something on the website, and that's how we found that. So I think what we want to do here is look at the facts. Number one, the ride has been closed for multiple weeks now, consecutively. We know that based on reports from guests. The mobile app has said so, and now the website is saying that that is essentially that it's subject to closures for lengthy periods of time. Number two, we've heard reports that there have been Rocky Mountain Construction trucks driving in the Pigeon Forge area, heading towards the park, and it sounds like this statement from the park is also saying that RMC is working on it. So I think based on those two things, we can consider that fact as well. What we don't know as fact is what they're actually doing. And I think that's what we're kind of here to talk about today, Andy, is the different things they can be doing. And I think don't you think there's a wide range of things they could actually be doing here?
Well, yeah, you know, and you wonder why we have all this talk of movement now all of a sudden, because, you know, maybe around last week or so, we heard that maybe, you know, there might have been a lawsuit pending. I have no real, you know, basis of fact of that, but, you know, there is word out there there's a lawsuit. Now we hear Rocky Mountain's in. We know it's been closed consistently. So something has to be done here. This is a multi-million-dollar ride. You know, the best new ride of 2016. A marketing campaign went into this ride to build it up everywhere, not just in the Pigeon Forge area, not just amongst enthusiasts, but all over the country heard about this brand new ride. And now Dollywood is sitting here with a ride that essentially does not work. And we really don't know why it doesn't work either. You know, at the beginning of this game, there's a lot of you know, passing the blame back and forth. You know, since then we've heard so many different rumors as to why this ride is not open, from the launch not working, from sensor issues, from motors overheating, from the trains being too heavy. Basically everything that you could possibly think of that is to go wrong with a ride is a rumor for why it's not open, and we still don't have any idea why. All, like we said, that's all speculation. So I think the question, like you said, is where in theory is this going? You know, when we talked about Lightning Rod a long time ago, you know, it seems to be that the major ideas is you bring someone else in to fix the launch, that this launch isn't working. You bring someone else in to fix it. Anyone from B&M to Premier, those have all been rumors as well. Or, we said at the very outset of this, I remember sitting down at dinner when this thing was broken, and we bantied around the idea of maybe you
asked me this question. You asked me, can they do this?
I said, can they do this from an engineering perspective? Can they put a traditional lift on this ride and have this ride still operate in generally the same way? Now, I don't know if you lose functionality. Obviously, you lose the first launch. I don't know if it can be done because that second hill is really high, and I don't know how you overcome that speed.
Well, and here's what I've told people when that question has been asked. The answer is yes with a little asterisk, because the way it is configured right now, you put a chain on the ride as is. Number one, let's not lose sight of the fact that you would need new trains, or you would need highly reconfigured trains, because much like Intimidator 305, much like Maverick, much like Cheetah Hunt, because you have that launch motor, the stator essentially going up the middle of the track, you have the permanent magnets on the underside of the train which go outside of the stator motor. So because of that, if you put a chain on, you need to replace that device with the traditional anti-rollback dog and the chain dog to actually catch a chain, and then also the anti-rollback device. So you need to either highly reconfigure the train, or you have to just completely build a new train. I don't know which one's easier. I don't know which one's more cost effective. I don't know. I haven't seen the underside of the trains from a very good view. I don't know how complicated it would be to, I don't know if it's simply unbolting the magnets that are on the train and replacing it with other hardware. It may be easier just to get two new trains. I have no idea. But the way the ride itself is configured right now, if you put a chain on it, you'd be lucky to get the train over that second hill, because it is essentially the same height. So the only way that I see a chain actually being a viable option and returning it to be a traditional wood coaster in the sense that it has a chain and a drop and then goes through the course as opposed to the launch, you have to increase the height of where the chain stops. But then that begs the question, well, you can't do that because you've eaten up that, so much space with the double down. So the only way I see a chain device working is something that I said a long time ago. You do away with the dolly double drop down, as we've, affectionately called it here on the show. And instead of having two hills, you take out the two hills and you connect it into one taller hill. You probably gain, I'll take an estimate of 30 to 40 feet, maybe somewhere in that range. You probably gain anywhere from 20 to 40 feet by essentially, let's think of it, the old Six Flags Magic Mountain Colossus, where the mid-course brake run is, or was, on the most recent wood version of that ride. They originally had some camel humps. So if you do the same sort of logic and you connect those two camel humps by making it one big hill, then you probably get the extra 20 to 40 feet you need to make up for that speed difference, because obviously with the launch you have extra speed going over those hills. Yeah. So you need to get that speed back somehow. So the way to get that speed back is to increase the height if you're going to reduce the speed of which you traverse the peak. So if you do the chain or even a cable of some sort and reduce that speed, you need to get it back by adding height. The benefit here is, number one, in theory, if the launch is the problem, this should solve the issues and get the ride open on a consistent basis, because the other RMCs with the traditional chain lifts typically have not had very bad maintenance records. They've run fairly reliably as far as the chain goes. Whether or not there's other issues with the ride, I don't know. You probably need a new control system that goes along with a chain like this, because that essentially becomes another block. And you probably have to reconfigure the computer system somehow in the sensor system. I don't know how complex that becomes. The benefit is, you and I have both ridden the ride. The ride, as is right now, when it functions, is incredible. It's one of the best coasters around right now. Yeah. And I mean, it won the Thrilling 32 this year. This past year. That's generally a statement that people agree with. So if you can get that speed back by adding the height, then the rest of the ride experience might remain relatively unchanged. And you and I were in agreement that the launch was not the best part of the ride. It was everything after the launch. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, maybe it's not such a bad thing, and maybe I'll get some hate mail for that. I don't know. But the other side here is from a Dollywood perspective. If you add this height, think about if you add 40 feet of height to a 160-some foot drop already, you then get the largest drop on a wood coaster. So you do get a new record that you didn't have. Now, you lose the first launch. You could debate whether or not they lose that record. They don't have a launch wood coaster anymore, so they lose that. But you might be able to keep the fastest title. You probably get the highest drop record as well, so you could maybe remarket it that way. Say, hey, we got this thing working now. We made some changes. We still have a world record breaker with this, and this. So from that side of things, I think there's some benefits, especially if the ride's going to open. But I don't know. It would almost be somewhat upsetting to see it just not work the way they wanted it to. I'm really, really rooting for them to kind of figure this out and ride it the way it's meant to be ridden.
Well, it's kind of a shock right now to everyone that we had at the Golden Ticket Awards people tell us that this thing we figured it out, it's good to go. And now come the season of 2017, and all of a sudden that's not the case, and it's not ready to go, and it's very far from ready to go.
Opening weekend, the coaster crew went down there again, and they had nighttime ERT, and everyone loved it, and it ran pretty reliably for them. And I think we were all kind of, holding our breath and saying, all right, it looks like, maybe they finally got this one kicked. They got it figured out. It's going to have a good season, and then, we get really to the kickoff of the season here, and it doesn't sound like it's quite right yet. So I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for you guys. I honestly am, because I want to come back down and ride it more. I still haven't gotten my night ride on it either, which I've heard they're incredible. But we're crossing our fingers, but it's not over just yet.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, and like we said, all of this is pure speculation at this point. They could very well try and come in and fix it. They could very well fix it next week for all we know, and have it be operating the same exact way. We simply do not know, but I think it bears the discussion based on it being closed so often in the last few weeks, and now with these extra rumors that we have, about some tension. It bears the discussion that we
and
just
the park acknowledging that it's not working.
Yeah,
finally.
So there you have it. Stay tuned on COASTER-net update. We will for sure probably be revisiting this topic at least one more time. Hopefully soon when it opens.
Hopefully in a good light.
So as always, ride on, Ride Warriors.
See you guys.